Hello everyone, Sandi here, and today we are back with another session of my Queen of Wands study. So we're basically just going to go card by card, just each Queen of Wands from some of the decks that I have in my collection. And we're going to read from the guidebook and discuss the card and yeah, let's just get cracking, shall we? So today I thought I wanted to start with the classic, the Queen of Wands from the Rider-Waite-Smith. I must admit that this is just one of my favorite court cards, really, from the Rider-Waite-Smith. I just adore the sunflower and the black cat symbology here. It's just so good. We will read the little entry from the little white book from the AGM tarot copy, tarot of A.E. Waite, because this one is written by Rachel Pollock. I unfortunately still don't have a physical copy of the 78 Degrees of Wisdom, but I am planning on getting it eventually. I have it as an audiobook, but I really want it as a physical copy as well. So we're going to read this one first. Then I also thought we would include the entry from this book called Wild Card, just so that we can kind of compare and contrast a bit there. All right, so Queen of Wands. We can look at so many of the Wands cards as ways in which people might respond to a world in extreme transition. Some see opportunities for adventure, some take on great responsibility. Some battle to protect what they have or their families. The queen loves life and especially nature. She withdraws from struggle or change so that she can hold on to her optimistic view of the world. Notice the black cat before her throne, as if on guard to protect her. For some, this marks her as a witch, but we also might see it as the natural world responding to her love. She holds a sunflower as if plucked from the sun card's garden. Many see her as the most sexual of the queens, for she sits with her legs apart. While she may enjoy sex, she doesn't seem eager for a relationship. It would only complicate her simple life. Divinatory meanings: love of life, simplicity, sexual energy, but not in search of relationship. Warning: advice: life challenges her, pushes her to get involved with others. She can be good in a crisis, but not an extended difficulty. Action: a time to love life and keep everything simple. That resonates so much for me right now as well. It's just every single card or every single guidebook entry for the Queen of Wands that I read, it just further solidifies how much in need of the Queen of Wands energy that I am in right now. It's quite funny actually. I'm reading this one book cover to cover, so I've gotten this far at the moment. But I will flip to the Queen of Wands. Hang on, that's the major. Right, here we go. So this is going to be one of the lengthier entries. We have 2 pages here to read. Queen of Wands: charm, free-spiritedness, attractiveness, brilliance, radiance, popularity, social dynamics, and cliques. Right. Be the flame, not the moth, is a quote widely attributed to Giacomo Casanova, or at least it's a quote attributed to him by the 2005 film Casanova, starring Heath Ledger, which is good enough for me. Regardless of its historical origins, it is very definitely the motto of the Queen of Wands. This person is always the flame, charming, attractive, compelling, radiant. You know a Queen of Wands as soon as you meet one. You are drawn to them. You want to get to know them better. You want to be them. Queens of Wands are the brightest and most brilliant people in any room, summoning attention to themselves like bees to nectar. At their best, a Queen of Wands is like Dolly Parton. All right. Their sparkle is channeled into action. The greater the challenge, the higher the rise. The bigger the platform, the bigger the hair. They are defined by self-belief, by courage, and by ambition. They give their time, their energy, and their resources to the things that matter to them, and their convictions are strong and so intoxicating that other people find themselves unable to resist going along with them, for better or for worse. This card represents that person about whom your parents would ask if they told you to jump off a bridge, would you? You would, obviously. And that's the key to understanding its darker side. There's a reason we are warned not to play with fire. Just because something looks beautiful doesn't mean it can't hurt you. At their worst, this queen is a Regina George in Mean Girls. If you get too close, you might get burnt, and yet somehow still want more. If that shadow self emerges, it's usually because a Queen of Wands has been trapped by their own glamour and reduced to that one popular aspect of themselves. Deprived of the opportunity to be authentic and multifaceted, or forced to perform the same tired role over and over again, they can become caustic. More often than not, the queens of the tarot are benevolent presences in the deck. Invitations to give more freedom to certain parts of yourself, or to enjoy the company of people who embody those characteristics. So unless this card appeared in a particular leading position in a spread, I'd always lean towards its more positive interpretations, relishing its vivacity, charm, and passion. But it shouldn't be forgotten that self-awareness is the greatest strength of all the queens, and this is probably the one who needs it the most. Sometimes people who burn the brightest are the least aware of how their presence or absence can affect others. I like to think of the Queen of Wands as a pillar of flame that casts a circle of light around itself. To be within that circle is to be seen, to be under the Queen's protection, bathed in the warmth of their regard. But it's also worth considering who sits outside that space, particularly if you recognize this Queen in yourself. It's easy for people to find themselves competing for attention and, if they don't get it, feeling invisible or unseen. A Queen of Wands chooses whom they invite to their side. To their inside. The challenge lies in acknowledging that their choices can have consequences and exercising care in making them. Questions to ask when you see this card. Who in your life is a shining beacon right now? Are you a beacon for others? What does it mean to be the center of attention? Is it something you want, something you admire, or something you just witness? This is a very good book. I really like it, and this one has given me a completely different perspective of the Queen of Wands in this specific instance of how I'm using the Queen of Wands energy. It doesn't really resonate in a lot of ways, because what they describe here about being a Dolly Parton or a Regina George is just like the complete opposite of who I typically am, which is precisely why, in order to invite more confidence and to enjoy my life more, I need to invite more of that energy into my life. Taking care not to become a Regina George, but I really don't think that I am running any risk of that. Like I've said before, I am aiming to create some kind of like a balancing kind of practice here where I'm starting with the Queen of Wands, which is the energy I've been lacking the most, or the energy that I've been missing the most from my life, that I had more of before, but that disappeared from my life a while back. And so I'm trying to invite back that type of energy by studying this card and by keeping it in the back of my mind each day. I have various Queens of Wands on my altar. I see the card every day. I sit and reflect on it, and that's how I'm trying to kind of bring in more of that energy in my choices and in how I live my daily life. And it so far it's really been a very energetic kind of energy in my life. It's given me a lot more joy in general, which I'm really appreciating. But like I said, this guidebook entry, or this book, really helps me also see different aspects of the Queen, and I really appreciate this book for that, because it's doing that for all of the different cards. Like I said, I'm reading this one cover to cover because it's just really, I enjoy the writing so much. So yeah, really do recommend this one. Let's move along, shall we? Next up, I thought we would have a look at the Wild Unknown Tarot, mainly because the Queen of Wands, or the Mother of Wands in this case, is a snake. And I just, I'm not a big fan of snakes in any way, shape or form. So this one is definitely a challenge for me to accept. Overall, I am not too familiar with this deck. I haven't been able to get along with it very well. I am planning on trying to make a little study of it at some point. But for now, we are just focusing on the Mother of Wands here as a snake guarding her eggs. Let's pop her there and see what Kim Krantz has to say about the Mother of Wands. Attractive, domestic and vibrant. So we have some repeating keywords here. The Mother of Wands is a vibrant woman and happy mother. Family comes first in her world. She is very protective of it and is the dominant parent within the home. Though proud and determined, she has enough grace and beauty that you'd hardly notice her forceful nature. Oftentimes, she has overcome great pain or trauma in her life. It's important not to get on her bad side. Now, this is a very short and to the point guidebook entry. It's very specific as well as to what kind of person this card relates to, and it's not giving me much in that way. I wish I would have had the forethought to look up Carrie's blog about the Wild Unknown. That will probably give me some more insight to this card. But either way, I wanted to include this because it's in my collection, and I don't know, maybe I could try and work with some snake energy. Although, at the same time, I am not sure about the snake and the Queen of Wands combination here. Either way, it's also important to face these kind of cards that gives you pause when it comes to a card, to just reflect on the different aspects of like this, different perspectives from different artists. But yeah, I'll need to sit with this some more because I'm not quite sure of it at the moment. Moving quite along, let's go for some smaller guidebooks for a little bit, because I have two or one more that's a little bit more lengthy. So here we go. We've got the Queen of Wands from the Anima Mundi Tarot. Here we have a leopard, I believe, sitting on a little mountain-like hill, and a wand here representing the suit, and we have this gorgeous starry sky in the background. Here we go. Queen of Wands, cheetah. That's it, not leopard. Cheetah. The Queen of Wands is strong, fierce, independent, and confident. She can take care of herself, knows what she wants, and can get a lot done with determination and authenticity. When going forth with your actions, do it boldly and fearlessly. Upright, determination, courage, independence, strength. Reversed, pettiness, selfishness, anger, jealousy, lost confidence. Yeah, that's quite a regular description for the Queen of Wands. And I do suppose the cheetah works quite well in that regard as well. I have not worked a lot with cheetah energy, or at all really. So that might be an interesting venue to explore as well. All right, let's go for the next one. We are looking at the Nicoletta Chicoli, Queen of Batons, giving you clear Marie Antoinette vibes here. This queen is holding a baby ice cream, it looks like. Very interested to hear what Linnea Weatherstone has written about this card, because as you can see here, the instructions are written by her. So let's flip to Queen of Wands. One who attracts others through beauty and charisma, can be overconfident, frivolous, or arrogant. Very short and sweet. Let's have a look then. One who attracts others through beauty and charisma. So I suppose we could see here the little like angel confectionery here, kind of like bees being attracted to a flower. Can be overconfident, frivolous, or arrogant. I mean, one could argue that having a cherry on top is kind of frivolous. Oh. I must say, I'm not feeling very like this card of the Queen of Wands doesn't resonate much with me at all. It's very distant, very cold in a way. Feels kind of like the shadow side almost of the Queen of Wands, which is not what I'm trying to attract. So this will not probably be a card that I will include in my practice with the Queen of Wands. Perhaps if I were to have a problem with the shadow side of the Queen of Wands, I would include it or as such. But at the moment with my practice, I'm trying to invite that warm, charismatic, joyful life experience or energy of the Queen of Wands, like I've said. So, but this is also, even though this was a very quick little guidebook read and just looking at this card now, it's an important part of the study to also recognize what is not part of what you want to attract. Like, what is it that you want to invite, and what do you want to, kind of reject. Yeah, so that was that. The next one I have here is the Chrysalis Tarot, a new favorite of mine. Really, I've recently ever so slightly trimmed this deck, so I've taken half of the yellow border off, not all of it because I actually kind of like it, but just half of it, just to make the card a little bit smaller and easier to handle for me, because the US Games cardstock is just too stiff for me. Either way, the Chrysalis Tarot has very interesting court cards. They have assigned an archetype to each court card, and the Queen of Wands, or in this card or in this deck, a Queen of Spirals, is called the Muse. And I just really love the calmness of her face and the way she's got this little deer with her. And yeah, let's read the little guidebook. I did not take out the big guidebook, but maybe I should have a little look at that one as well. All right, here we go. The Muse. Traditional name, Queen of Wands, Queen of Spirals. Attributes, nurturing, inspiring. Role, Muse. The Muse shares the qualities of a gentle fawn. She emerges from her magic forest in times of difficulty or indecision. The Muse can make herself known through a maternal presence or your inner voice, the stream of consciousness that knows you better than you know yourself. The Muse brings comfort by assuring you of her concern and constancy. Like a guardian angel, she inspires the courage you need to make difficult choices. Oh, I love that. She feels very inspiring, which I think is, exactly what they were going for. Let me just grab the big guidebook so that we can have a look at what that one says as well. All right, so here we've got the big guidebook, and this one is basically just a book where both the artist, Holly Sierra, and the writer, Tony Brooks, has written their personal insights to what they feel about each card that they've planned together. There's an introduction here as well about how they went about creating this deck, and here we've also got some more information about the troupe, which is what they call the court cards, and they've basically taken all the archetypes from the court, from like a traveling troupe, and added them on top the court cards. So we've got the minstrel, the artiste, the illusionist, etc. Let's flip to the Muse. Oh, there's not that much written here, so we can breeze through this. I thought, okay, so this part here, which is in cursive, that's written by Holly, the artist, and this part here is written by Tony. So, I thought the Muse a very lovely addition to our troupe. She reminded me very much of my daughter Esme, who has often been likened to a fawn, given her large eyes and colouring. For the Muse herself, I explored various Renaissance painters and ended up settling for the Venus figure in Botticelli's Primavera. Like Esme, the fawn and Venus figure reminded me of the fleeting, innocent and gentle beauty that is often attributed to the ancient muses. Chrysalis has these same qualities. A single card can ignite a fire that brings about meaningful change. That's beautiful. And also a very different view of the Queen of Wands, really. Which I really appreciate, that the Queen of Wands doesn't always just have to be this fiery, confident, Dolly Parton-esque, or like super excessively sexual person. It can also be this quiet, innocent gentleness that has this still but steady fire inside, you know? Right, let's see what Tony wrote. It's easy to resonate with the muse archetype because she is so unassuming and approachable. She's the one who wakes you up at odd hours with creative inspirations. Her consort, the companion, is the troop's wise old man. She is the troop's peaceful dove, a soft and loving reflection of the divine feminine. The muse is the mistress of our passion, although we may not have discovered what our passion is yet. If that's true, this may be because of feelings of powerless, low self-esteem, or a chronic pessimistic attitude, which is exactly what I was suffering from before I started this practice. A chronic pessimistic attitude. I was constantly very negative. In readings, the muse emphasizes the need to recreate yourself by addressing any such feelings of inadequacy that bog you down. The muse's fawn symbolizes gentleness and innocence. It reinforces her message that you not be too hard on yourself. Nurturing childlike innocence and presenting a pleasing demeanor releases blocked second chakra energy, the seat of your passion. Oh, I love that so much. I'm going to leave this book out. I had put it away for some reason, but it's really lovely to hear more of the creators' points of view of the cards they've made. Love, love, love so much. Next up we have the Queen of Wands from the Joie de Vivre Tarot. This is a trimmed deck. It used to have white borders and it does not have them anymore. So this one is kind of interesting. I love the way we have some kind of, she looks like a firefly almost, and here's the little the nod to the Rider-Waite-Smith deck with the sunflower here that she's kind of sparkling her magic on, and we've got, it looks like she's got almost like it's like a fruit basket type thing on her head, and she's got branches growing from her head as well. She's got a magic wand stuck in her belt, and also these the nod to the cat as well in the flowers here below, because of there's like little cat heads, which is kind of cute. Right, so let's read the little guidebook. Queen of Wands. Keywords: nurture, motivation, inspiration, balance, happiness. Queen Cest, that's her name, Cest. The Queen of Wands bears the courageous heart of a lioness. Radiating health and vitality, she showers her garden with love and the sunlit warmth of her very spirit. Believe in yourself, commit to challenges with confidence. Thoughtfulness toward details will help you create the best outcome to ensure lasting success. By sharing your vision, you're helping to create a better world for all. Reversed short-tempered manipulation, egocentrism. So that's really, really fun as well to see this line here. By sharing your vision, you're helping to create a better world for all, which is really resonating with me because I've always kind of second-guessed myself about, you know, the reason for creating the things that I create, like what's the point in being creative or artistic or whatever, and like feeling like I'm just wasting my time. But maybe just sharing my vision, I'm just also maybe like she says here, sprinkling some vitality and some inspiration out in the world, maybe not to the world as a whole, but to the world that I exist in my nearest environment, in myself, creating energy within myself that then leads me to be a happier person for those around me, you know. Over the last few years, I've gone from, you know, the kind of childish, well, not childish per se either, but naive maybe is the better word. The naive thought that if I'm doing anything, it needs to be on such a grand scale that it kind of changes the world, you know. But the world in itself doesn't need to be a global thing. It can be my own world and the world that I share with those closest to me. And that is a big enough change or a big enough field to be working in, you know. It makes a difference. Yeah, really liked that interpretation there. Next up, we have a new deck in my collection, the Crystal Tarot. And here we've got beautiful, beautiful artwork by Elisabetta Trevisan. Like I said, brand new deck in my collection. I've never done a reading with it or anything. I just showed it in my haul video that I just filmed. But here we go. I really love the colors in this deck. I love that we have these birch trees here in the background. We have her standing on an arrow, which is quite interesting. Her baton here, or her wand, seems to be on fire. She looks very calm and poised and confident. So, wands. Queen of Wands. Oh, it's very, very short, right? I'll read this part up here as well. So, the wands represents the realm of desires. Faced with wands, we must confront our ambitions, desires, and actions, as well as those of others, and accept the will which affects all things. Queen of Wands apparently is a friend. Ability to listen, advise, and understand. Very short and sweet. Oh, I really wish that this deck had more of a guidebook to fall back on, because it is a paper deck. So yeah, I suppose I will have to do most of the work with this deck. But beautiful Queen of Wands nonetheless. Right, the next one is also brand new to my collection, picked up in England, and that's the Fairy Tarot. Here we've got the Queen of Wands, which in this deck is the Queen of Acorns. She looks quite a lot, I mean, if I didn't know that the acorns were a representative of the Wands suit, I would have assumed that this was the Queen of Swords because of the massive sword that she is holding and because of the wintry ground. However, the wings that she has are very fiery, and I suppose also the way she's looking straight at you with that little confident smirk on her face kind of gives you the Queen of Wands energy. Let's read the little guidebook. I assume it's not going to be a lot in this one either because it is a low Scarabeo deck. Oh, we've gone past it apparently. Acorn Ace, Acorn Queen. Right, let's read this little bit in this one as well. So the Acorn suit. The sign of this suit is the basis of the winter diet of fairies. The choice of such a sign depends on the fact that this suit deals with difficulties and hard moments and gives suggestions to overcome them. It's linked to the traditional wand suit. Oh, that sounds interesting. Have they flipped them in this one? I think they have. Like I said, this is a brand new deck. I am not familiar with it at all. I just felt like I wanted to include the queens in this study for today because I wanted to put back the queens into the deck and start using them. So anyway, the Queen of Acorns, she represents an intense friendship with a mature, honest and friendly woman. So very kind of fleeting description there. Not really adding much to this study, I'm afraid. All right. The next one I wanted to include is the also brand new. It's from the Spirit of Flowers Tarot, which is an out-of-print deck. But I wanted to include it because this is a deck I've wanted for a very long time. And I just love. I have a very special connection to the Cicely Mary Baker flower fairies, and here we are with the Spirit of Flowers Tarot, which I feel is very heavily influenced. The artwork is by Antonella Castelli, I think. Let's have a look. Yes, Antonella Castelli. But the artwork is very, very heavily influenced by Cicely's flower fairies, in my opinion. Either way, here we've got the Queen of Wands, which looks to be some kind of lily that she's here. Let's have a look what the guidebook says. I hope it's going to mention the flowers in this guidebook. I haven't actually looked yet. Yes, it does. That's very good. All right, so wands have like red or pinkish flowers, and it says here the queen is gladiolus. All right. In the language of flowers, gladiolus means conquest. Virtue, devotion, foresight, rural pleasures, collection. Okay, so it seems like they're not addressing the Queen of Wands as a tarot. In that sense, they are addressing... Oh, hang on. Right, I see. This line here is basically in the language of flowers. Gladiolus means conquest. Then they are giving you keywords for the Queen of Wands, which is virtue, devotion, foresight, rural pleasures. I don't know what they mean by that. That must be a really weird translation issue, probably from Italian. Rural pleasures. Sounds really odd. Collection. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to be mostly for the flower language as well as, reading intuitively here. In my opinion, this Queen of Wands reminds me quite a lot of the energy that we saw in the the Chrysalis Tarot, where we've got this kind of sweet and innocent sweet and innocent and quiet passionate side of the Queen of Wands, and not the huge, like the introverted version of the Queen of Wands, which I'm personally much more I feel personally much more connected to than the extroverted, loud part, aspect of the Queen of Wands. But either way, it's a beautiful, beautiful card. And I just really enjoy getting to see all of these different interpretations of the Queen of Wands. We have 3 more cards to look at. I hope this video isn't going to be too long. Let's have a look at the Animal Tarot. So here we've got the Queen of Springs, which is a Persian cat. And it says here the keywords are talented, brilliant, independent, and charming. Those keywords keep popping up, so they seem to be like a very general consensus of what the Queen of Wands is like. Here we've got a Persian cat sitting on a golden throne with some of her kittens playing by her feet. We also have the sunflower and a crescent moon on the side here. When I first saw this, I immediately got Empress vibes, and I thought that this was the Empress, but it's not. It's the Queen of Wands. So let's read this little blurb down here as well. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. You may have several priorities vying for your attention at once, but you can do it. So this is an old Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine deck. Usually the Doreen Virtue decks are a little bit too cheesy and sweet and, dare I say, Christianity based for me. But once I look past that, this deck reads really well for me. And I love, love, love the artwork by Dan Craig. And so this deck is becoming more and more important in my practice. Because also, even though I like hard-hitting decks, there is absolutely a place in my life for softness and sweetness, and I'm learning to take that side of things more seriously and not just write it off as cheesy or surface level. You mean everything that is sweet and kind is not necessarily surface level. I feel like there is a tendency to write off anything that's sweet or cuddly as hug decks, which is a term I don't really like, because I feel like there's the decks that have given me the most profound readings lately have been these softer, gentler decks. They can be very harsh in their own way. I feel like there is what I was trying to say is that I feel that there is like this general consensus that for a deck to be deep and hard-hitting or deep and very like probing almost, or what's the word I'm looking for? Provocative or thought-provoking. It needs to be dark and kind of harsh and sharp, but I'm getting more and more convinced. I mean, there is this common saying that you catch more flies with honey, and I just can't stop thinking about that saying right now. It's like you can get, for me, in my personal experience, I have the courage and feel safe to enter a darker and more difficult place when I'm doing so with love and support through a loving and supporting deck, if that makes any sense at all. So yeah, let's just get on with reading the Queen of Spring. Right. White Persian cat, acting with perfect timing, luxuriant self-care, independence, the flexibility to handle any situation. This is a great time to get things accomplished. You may have more than one important thing to accomplish at once, but don't let that worry you. Assistance is available if you need it, though you probably won't. Don't underestimate your ability to make your dreams come true. You can do it. This white Persian can also represent a person who is able to do anything. She multitasks better than anyone and is confident, self-motivated, talented and charming. She's so well liked that people just naturally want to help her. She's a bit strong-willed though and likes to have things her way. Cats have a well-earned reputation for being independent. They may devote up to half their waking hours to grooming themselves, yet they can spring into action at just the right time. Persians, in particular, require a good bit of grooming due to their long, luxurious hair. This fits well with our Queen of Spring. Since she works very hard for her money, and therefore is willing to spend some of it on self-care. Perhaps it's time to do some pampering and nurturing of yourself. See, this is one of the things that I really like about this deck and the guidebook, is that they motivate each choice for each card, like each animal choice. In the end of the write-up, they always have a paragraph of why they've chosen that specific animal and what part of that animal's life or aspects that they deal with on a daily basis kind of thing relates to the tarot, which I find really helpful, especially since they use several different kinds of cats and dogs in this deck. They relate the choices to that specific kind of cat or dog. So in this case here we have the Maine Coon kitten, and here we've got a paragraph about specifically Maine Coons. So yes. Anyway, that was the Animal Tarot cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Currently out of print, but I think that they are re-releasing it with just Radley Valentine's name on there. So yeah, that was that. The next one I wanted to show you is the Tarot of the Golden Wheel. A fairly new acquisition, but I love the artwork in this deck. Look at her. She is so fabulous, and that luxurious big poofy dress and that cute cat, and the fieriness in these colors are just amazing. Here we are. Queen of Wands. Passion. Right. The Queen exhibits love of nature, care and generosity. She has vigor, openness to new acquaintances and connections, goodwill, striving for independence and career growth, success, good learning ability, readiness to develop, charm, the ability to interest people and gain trust. Upright, active, initiative, positive thinking. Reverse, despotism, jealousy and vanity. So here we go again with the exact kind of energy that I'd like to attract to my life, which is to be more active, take more initiative, think more positively, and an openness to new acquaintances. Because, yeah, I really feel the need to have more friendship in my life as well, which is just the ticket, I think, with the Queen of Wands energy as well. So that was the Golden Wheel, Tarot of the Golden Wheel by Mila Losenko. Right, last but not least, I've saved a big player. Oh no, hang on, there's two. Right, I'll save the big one for last. So the next one is the Queen of Wands from the Anna K Tarot. I love this card. Look at the bright yellow, the sunflowers here. She is so flowy in her beautiful dress, and she looks really joyful and open and happy. Let's put her down there and go and have a look at the Queen of Rods in this instance. There she is. The Queen of Rods is self-confident and passionate. Self-actualization and self-determination mean the world to her. If she is confined or caged If she is hindered from moving about freely, she can't be happy. Relationships can be difficult for her for that reason. She is courageous, always sticks by her opinions, and is full of energy because she always knows what she wants. Okay. The Queen of Rods can be problematic if she becomes reckless and overly self-opinionated from her passion, and if she... Sorry, how that's read? That sounded wrong to me. The Queen of Rods can be problematic if she becomes reckless and overly self-opinionated from her passion, and if she inclines towards... That's a really weird English there. In my ears, at least. And if she inclines towards self-dramatization, bragging, and overestimating her capabilities. There's something with this line here that I'm not quite understanding. It feels a bit dislodged in some way. Anyway, for your interpretation, you can see the Queen of Rods as a woman with the above qualities, or as the female part of a man's psyche. But I tend to read the queens as the inward side of a person, their philosophy of life, attitude towards life, values, habits, typical moods, etc., no matter whether the person is female or male. All right. Tip: the queen and the king of the same suit have similar meanings, so it's perfectly normal and not due to lack of differentiation on your side that in readings they can be interpreted in a very similar way. And should you have trouble remembering which queen of which suit has which meaning, simply remind yourself of the different overall topics of the four suits. Remind yourself of the different overall topics the four suits address. Right. Okay. Yeah, that guidebook entry seemed a little bit weird, but anyway, I really love the energy portrayed in this card either way, and can't really say I agree with some of the stuff that was in there, but I will reread it soon, I think, and try and make sense of it. At the moment, I'm feeling a bit lost. Right, so now to the last one that I've chosen for today, and that is the Star Tarot by Kathy McClelland. So here we've got the Queen of Wands. This deck overall is just chock full of symbolism, and that's why I felt I wanted to save this one for last, because it's going to be a long entry. Really, I was going to wait and see if we had time to include it. We're now reaching an hour soon. But you know, what the heck, you can pause and come back if you don't want to watch the whole thing all at once. Or you can skip it altogether if you're very familiar with the Star Tarot. Either way, I really love this depiction of the Queen of Wands. We have this braided, swirly, spirally hair floating out from her head down to the sides. She has this bright, fiery dress, and also this kind of swirly spiral here at her chest going down to her root chakra. We also have the Bridget's cross here, which is really interesting. And I really love that association there. We have a male lion lying at her feet, as well as a starry panther just sitting there facing her as well. We have a flowering wand that also seems to be on fire, as well as these sunflowers with spirals in the middle surrounding her. She is gorgeous, and she seems to be... I don't know what planet that is, but I suspect that the guidebook is going to tell us. So this is the first edition of the deck that I bought secondhand, by the way, and I am planning on trimming it because it's just so big. But yes, the Queen of Wands. So we have also this... Oh, this entry here just about the queens and the associations with the queens themselves. So we have the element water, full moon, mandala symbol, keywords mother, goddess, creativity, feminine wisdom, intuition, and motherhood. And then you take all of that and you pair it with the aspects here on with the specific Queen of Wands. So here, but they've done that for you already, it looks like. Yeah, here it says lunar aspect, full moon. I wonder if it says that for all the queens. Yes, so all the queens have the lunar aspect, full moon. And then we've got sacred day is Imolek or Candlemas. Astrological aspect is Aries. Elements is water, fire. So water because the queens are water, but fire because the wands are fire. Then we have shield, mandala. I wonder, it said here that the mandala was the symbol, so I'm assuming that the shield that she's holding is that mandala symbol that they're referring to there. Keywords mother of creation, creative life force. So we've got a little bit to read here. I hope you will be able to follow along. The Queen of Wands is the mother goddess of fire, the mother of creation. Dynamic, courageous, confident, and passionate, she knows who she is, what she wants, and how to get it. The Queen embodies the elements of water, emotion, and fire, spirit. Balancing and integrating the fluid feminine intuitive wisdom with the fiery masculine life force that expands into active, inspired vision. Fear has no power over her. She believes in herself and has the courage to follow her heart and dreams. Her energy is fiery magic. The Queen of Wands opens you to the inherent wisdom that lies in your heart. The Queen of Wands plants seeds for future endeavors and feeds them with her inner life force and spirit energy from the divine. She symbolizes manifesting spiritual potential. The Queen of Wands is full of energy and loves a challenge. Once she is committed to a goal that is heartfelt and true to her, she will go forward with full determination and dedication. Her excitement for life is intoxicating, inspiring others to explore, create, and manifest their visions and dreams. She encourages one to look at things in a more expansive way. She is an excellent leader and counselor. The Queen of Wands is dedicated to the path of spiritual truth. When the Queen of Wands shows up in your life, get ready for a great surge of energy that supports any heartfelt endeavor or inspired idea. She signals the beginning of something new that has potential for great success. As a visionary, she encourages you to expand your spiritual being by exploring your creative passions. Be aware of the life force within and use the fire energy to burn away distractions so you can focus on the horizons of your dreams. Be very clear about what you want and align with it. She asks you to discover the deepest essence of who you are. Believe and trust in yourself. Deep healing on many levels can happen when we open ourselves to the dark unknown Kundalini, allowing it to ascend to the light. The Queen of Wands awakens the courage and fearless willpower that motivates manifestation of our dreams. Her lesson is to have the courage to live life fully without fear, bringing the spiritual light of truth into your world. She brings creativity, success, and healing. The Queen encourages you to take charge and pursue your dreams. Her message is to live every day with joy and integrity as if it was your last. Enjoy life's gifts and experiences. Take them on with enthusiasm and vigor. I felt like this part was basically just repeating the same thing over and over again in a way, but at the same time doing so and reading this whole thing, it feels like it's really kind of like just driving it home in a way. But it feels like a lot of this long-winded explanation here was just repeating the same thing just in different ways throughout the whole thing. Either way, the Queen of Wands wears the fiery sun crown. Right, here we go. They are now explaining the symbolism in the card. So, the Queen of Wands wears the fiery sun crown at the top of her head. At the top of her crown, the flame of her kundalini, her life force, ascends through her 7th chakra, opening her up to divine inspiration. She is a channel for the powerful creative energy of spirit. The Queen of Wands and Saint Bridget, an Irish saint and the ancient Celtic goddess of fire, illumination and healing, share the same mastery of fire, bringing light and promise of spring and rebirth. The Queen holds a sunflower mandala in her left hand, the feminine side of the body. The sunflower mandala is embellished with the Bridget's cross, like I said earlier, of light and inspiration. At the center is the star, reminding us of who we are and the source from whence we came. The Queen of Wands is seated on her sunflower throne. Sunflowers represent joy and healing. In her right hand, masculine side of the body, she holds her wand of fire, growth and creativity. The white lilies and snowdrops represent, that's what is flowering in her wand there. The white lilies and snowdrops represent purity and rebirth. The sunflower of fire symbolizes the fiery seed of inspiration, desiring to be and put into action. The Queen of Wands is accompanied by two animal guides, the magical leopard or panther and the majestic lion. The two large cats bridge the worlds of the conscious and unconscious. The lion represents the fire energy of the sun and the divine masculine. The lion is masculine conscious energy of action manifesting on a physical level. The lion represents the awakened consciousness of the crown chakra. When the lion energy aligns with the divine feminine energies of the leopard or panther kundalini, the alchemical mystical marriage is the result. The lion's transformative fire heats the deep waters of the kundalini, causing its energy to rise up to the crown chakra, opening up the consciousness to divine wisdom and inspiration. The black mystical cat is the Queen's guardian and guide. It represents the divine feminine. Its black starry coat symbolizes the primal energies that want to emerge from the depths. The magical cat guides the Queen to awaken her inherent inner power and creative life force energy. The leopard panther helps her retrieve what has been lost, reawakening and reclaiming the connection of Kundalini to spirit. Wow. All right. That was quite a long-winded entry, and also went a little bit above my head with all the talk about the chakras and Kundalini and stuff, but nonetheless, gorgeous card and very inspiring read. I noticed that they did not mention the planet in the corner here. Did I just miss it? No. I felt like I read all of it. Is it representing the full moon, maybe? That could be it, that it's the full moon. I think that must be it. So, yeah. Either way, that concludes our Queen of Wands study for today. I will be returning with some more of these. I still have quite a few of unexplored Queen of Wands in my collection. I hope that you are enjoying this little series. if you have any thoughts at all about any of the Queen of Wands that we've been looking at today, please do not hesitate to leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear all of your thoughts and perspectives on this down in the comments. So please take care of yourselves and be well, my friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.